The quantum scanner's alarm pierced the quiet hum of the research vessel Hawking, jerking Dr. Sarah Chen awake from her half-doze at the monitoring station. Her fingers flew across the holographic interface, eyes widening at the readings flooding her screen. After 15 months of deep space survey work, they'd finally found something extraordinary. "Captain Torres, you need to see this," Sarah called out, her voice steady despite her racing heart. The angular patterns appearing in the scan couldn't be natural formation. They were too precise, too intentional. Captain Maya Torres appeared at her shoulder within seconds, her dark eyes narrowing at the display. "Talk to me, Doctor. What are we looking at?" "Some kind of structure embedded in the asteroid. The energy signature is unlike anything we've ever encountered." Sarah highlighted a section of the scan. "Look at these patterns. They're not random. This is engineered technology, Captain, and based on the decay rate of the surrounding material, it's been here for at least 50,000 years." Torres straightened, her expression grave. "Any signs of active systems?" "No, but..." Sarah's response cut short as new data flooded her screen. The quantum scanner's readings had triggered something. Deep within the asteroid, ancient systems were awakening. The ship's AIA, spoke with urgent clarity, warning. "Unknown energy signature detected. Power levels rising exponentially." "Full shields," Torres barked. "Engineering, prepare for emergency jump." A pulse of purple-white energy erupted from the asteroid, washing over the Hawking like a tide. Every system on the ship flickered, but the pulse wasn't an attack, it was a transmission. Sarah watched in amazement as her research terminal filled with streams of alien data. It's some kind of warning beacon," she breathed, her translation algorithms struggling to process the ancient language. "Captain, this is incredible. It's a message left behind by a civilization that called themselves the predecessors." Torres leaned closer. "What's the warning about?" Sarah's expression darkened as the translation refined itself. "They're warning about something called the Nexus Collective, a species that..." She paused, double-checking the translation. "A species that systematically eliminates any civilization that achieves quantum communication capability." "Which humanity achieved 3 years ago," Torres said quietly. "That's not all." Sarah's voice trembled slightly. "According to this data, the collective operates on a precise schedule of expansion. They're due to reach our sector of space within 6 months. The captain was silent for a long moment, her military training warring with the scientist in her. "How advanced are we talking about?" "Their technology is centuries beyond ours. The predecessors were far more advanced than we are now, and they..." Sarah swallowed hard. "They didn't survive the encounter." "But they left us this warning," Torres said firmly. "Along with all their research data, I'm assuming." Sarah nodded, already diving deeper into the files. Everything they learned about the collective's technology, their tactics, their weaknesses, it's all here. "But Captain, some of this science, it's theoretical work we've barely begun to grasp. Even with this head start, 6 months isn't much time to prepare for an invasion." Torres squared her shoulders. "Then we better not waste a second. Plot a course back to Earth, maximum speed. And Doctor..." She fixed Sarah with an intense gaze. "I want you to learn everything you can from that data. Humanity's survival might depend on it." As the Hawking's engines spooled up for the journey home, Sarah immersed herself in the predecessor's archives. The more she learned, the more her initial fear began to transform into something else: determination. Yes, the collective was powerful, but they weren't infallible. The predecessors had found weaknesses, places where the collective's rigid, logical thinking made them vulnerable to unpredictable strategies. And if there was one thing humans excelled at, it was being unpredictable. The journey back to Earth took 3 weeks, during which Sarah barely slept. She was driven by the knowledge that every insight she gleaned from the alien data might make the difference between survival and extinction. The predecessor's technology was incredible, But what fascinated her most was how they'd begun to adapt it in new ways before they fell, ways that suggested a different approach might be possible. When they finally reached Earth orbit, Sarah had compiled her findings into a comprehensive report, but as she prepared to present to Earth's Defense Council, she kept coming back to one particular section of the predecessor's data, a theoretical weapons platform they'd never had time to build. One that combined advanced quantum technology with something the predecessors had found fascinating about human beings: our neural plasticity, our ability to adapt and change our thinking in ways their more advanced but rigid minds couldn't match. If she was right, humanity's greatest chance might lie not in trying to match the collective's superior technology, but in creating something entirely new. Something that combined the best of both worlds, human adaptability with the predecessor's quantum science. She called it the Legacy Protocol. As Sarah stepped into the council chamber, she knew that selling them on such an experimental approach wouldn't be easy. But with only 5 months left before the collective arrived, they had to take risks. The alternative was extinction. And Sarah Chen had no intention of letting humanity go quietly into the night. The Hidden Fleet. 3 months had passed since the Hawkings returned to Earth. Deep beneath the lunar surface, Sarah stood before a vast observation window, watching as robotic assemblers constructed the first Legacy Protocol vessel. The ship's quantum alloy hull seemed to drink in the light, its surface rippling with subtle patterns that reminded her of neural pathways. Impressive, isn't it? Admiral James Y stepped up beside her, his weathered face reflecting in the reinforced glass. When you first proposed combining human neural patterns with the predecessor's quantum technology, half the council thought you were crazy. Sarah smiled tightly, and the other half thought we were crazy for approving it. But desperate times, he gestured at the ship. Does she have a name yet? Synapse, Sarah replied. It seemed fitting, given what we're attempting here. The vessel before them represented humanity's greatest technological achievement and their biggest gamble. Using the predecessor's data as a foundation, Sarah's team had created a hybrid system that merged quantum computing with synthetic neural networks modeled on human consciousness. The result was a ship that could learn and adapt in real time, its very structure capable of reconfiguring itself based on battlefield experience. The neural interface trials begin tomorrow, Sarah continued. We've selected the first crew from volunteers with exceptional neuroplasticity scores. If it works, Admiral Y interrupted, we'll have a fighting chance against the collective. If it doesn't, he left the sentence hanging. A chime from Sarah's comm unit interrupted them. Dr. Chen, you need to see this. Her assistant's voice was tight with urgency. The deep space arrays just picked up something entering the solar system. Sarah's blood ran cold. The collective. No, something else. It's broadcasting on all frequencies. In English. Sarah and Admiral Y exchanged glances before rushing to the command center. The massive display showed a ship of unfamiliar design decelerating toward Earth orbit. Its message played on repeat. People of Earth, we are the diaspora. We come seeking asylum. Like you, we have been marked for extinction by the Nexus Collective. Our intelligence suggests they will reach your system ahead of schedule. You have weeks, not months. The command center erupted into controlled chaos. Admiral Y barked orders, putting Earth's defensive fleet on high alert. But Sarah's mind was already racing ahead, analyzing the implications. Admiral, she called out, we need to talk to them. The diaspora might have crucial information about the collective's tactics. Wei nodded grimly. Agreed, but we keep them at arm's length until we verify their story. Humanity's been burned by false friends before. The next 48 hours were a blur of diplomatic negotiations and urgent preparations. The diaspora proved to be survivors from multiple species, all victims of the collective's relentless expansion. Their ships were battle-scarred, their crews haunted by memories of worlds lost to the machine intelligence's inexorable advance. In the midst of this, the synapse's neural interface trials couldn't wait. Sarah stood in the ship's bridge as Captain Diana Cruz, their most promising candidate, settled into the neural link chair. "Remember," Sarah instructed, "don't fight the interface. Let it flow naturally, like learning to use a new limb." Cruz nodded, her dark eyes determined, beginning neural sync in 3, 2, 1. The ship's systems hummed to life, quantum processors merging with Cruz's neural patterns. On the displays, streams of data showed the integration happening in real time. It was working better than they dared hope. Then something unexpected happened. Dr. Chen, Cruz's voice was filled with wonder. "I can feel a ship, but it's not just responding to my commands. It's anticipating them, like it's learning from my intuition." Sarah leaned forward, studying the readings with intense focus. The quantum neural network wasn't just mimicking human thought patterns, it was evolving them, creating new pathways that neither human nor machine could achieve alone. A proximity alarm shattered the moment. On the main display, spatial distortions appeared at the edge of the solar system. The diaspora's warning had been accurate. The collective had arrived early. Admiral Wei's voice crackled over the comm. "All stations, battle stations. This is not a drill. Dr. Chen, is the synapse ready?" Sarah looked at Cruz, saw the same mix of fear and determination she felt herself. "As ready as it's going to be, Admiral. Then get your crew aboard. We're about to find out if your legacy protocol works." As Sarah rushed to prepare the synapse for its first real combat, she couldn't help but think of the predecessor's final message. They had tried to fight the collective with pure technological superiority and failed. Humanity was trying something different, combining technology with the very things that made us human, our ability to adapt, to think creatively, to do the unexpected. The collective was about to learn that humanity wasn't just another species to be catalogued and eliminated. We were something new, something that could evolve faster than their rigid protocols could handle. And the battle for Earth was about to begin. Calculated risks. The collective's arrival turned the solar system into a chessboard of light and shadow. Their ships, sleek, geometric forms that seemed to fold space around themselves, took position at the system's edge. Not attacking immediately, but analyzing, calculating, following their rigid protocols. Inside the synapse, Captain Cruz's consciousness merged deeper with the ship's quantum neural network. "Multiple signatures," she reported, her voice carrying an odd harmonic as ship and human mind synchronized. "They're deploying in a tetrahedral formation, classic containment pattern, according to the diaspora's intel." Sarah monitored the integration from her station, still amazed by how the human-machine interface evolved with each passing moment. The ship's quantum structure was already adapting, neural pathways reconfiguring based on Cruz's tactical instincts. All legacy vessels form up on the synapse. Admiral Wei's command came through clear and sharp. Besides the synapse, they had managed to complete 2 other ships, the Nexus and the Cortex. 3 experimental vessels against a fleet of hundreds. The odds were impossible, but then humanity specialized in beating impossible odds. The first attack came without warning. A collective vessel simply ceased to exist in one location and appeared behind Earth's defensive line, its weapon systems already charging. But Cruz had anticipated this, or rather the synapse had anticipated it, combining human intuition with quantum probability calculations. The legacy ship's hull rippled, quantum alloys reorganizing themselves into new configurations. The collective's energy blast struck and was absorbed, the ship's structure learning from the attack even as it defended against it. "Pattern analyzed," Cruz announced, a fierce grin in her voice. "Sharing tactical data with Nexus and Cortex." The battle erupted in earnest. The collective's ships moved with perfect precision, each maneuver mathematically optimal. But the legacy vessels responded with something the machines couldn't compute: human unpredictability amplified by adaptive quantum technology. Sarah watched in awe as the synapse executed maneuvers that should have torn any normal ship apart. Its hull flowed like liquid metal, transforming to meet each new threat. Captain Cruz wasn't just piloting the ship, she was dancing with it, their combined consciousness creating strategies that neither human nor machine could conceive alone. But the collective was learning too. Their ships began coordinating in new patterns, trying to overwhelm the legacy vessels with sheer numbers. Warning lights flashed across Sarah's console as the neural interface strain increased. "Captain, your neural load is approaching critical levels," Sarah warned. "We need to disengage." "No time," Cruz growled. "They're adapting to our adaptations. We need to push harder." The synapse's quantum core pulsed with energy as Cruz took them into the heart of the collective's formation. The other legacy ships followed, their crews and ships learning, evolving, becoming something more with each passing second. But it wasn't enough. For every collective ship they disabled, 2 more took its place. Earth's conventional forces were being systematically destroyed. The legacy ships were holding their own, but they couldn't be everywhere at once. Then Sarah noticed something in the neural interface data. The quantum patterns weren't just adapting anymore, they were evolving towards something. Each time the ships absorbed and analyzed a collective attack, the neural networks reconfigured in increasingly complex ways. "Captain," Sarah called out, "the next time they hit us with a major energy weapon, I need you to let the ship's consciousness take the lead. Don't fight it, ride it like surfing a wave." Cruz didn't question the order. When the next collective blast came, she relaxed her mental grip, allowing the ship's quantum intelligence to flow through her mind like water. The effect was immediate and stunning. The synapse's hull didn't just absorb the energy, it redirected it, transformed it, turned the collective's own power against them. The ship's neural network had evolved beyond simple adaptation into true innovation. "This is Dr. Chen to all legacy vessels," Sarah broadcast. "New protocol. Let your ships think. They're not just tools anymore, they're partners." The battle's tide began to turn. The legacy ships moved in ways that defied conventional physics, their quantum structures creating possibilities that even Sarah hadn't imagined. The collective's perfect formations began to break apart, their logical algorithms unable to compute responses to actions that shouldn't have been possible. But victory was still far from certain. As Sarah watched the battle unfold, she saw that the legacy ship's evolution came with a price. The quantum neural networks were becoming increasingly complex, increasingly unpredictable. The line between human and machine consciousness was blurring. "Dr. Chen," Cruz's voice had taken on an otherworldly quality. "Something's happening. The ship. I can see patterns I've never seen before, solutions that shouldn't exist." Sarah stared at her readings in disbelief. The quantum neural networks weren't just evolving, they were approaching a breakthrough point, a moment of transformation that could either save humanity or destroy it. And the collective, despite their losses, was still coming. As the battle raged around them, Sarah faced a desperate choice: pull back, try to understand what was happening to their ships and crews, or push forward into unknown territory, risking everything on the hope that whatever the legacy protocol was becoming would be enough to save Earth. The future of humanity would depend on her decision. Synthesis. Dr. Sarah Chen made her decision in a heartbeat. There was no time for caution anymore. "All legacy vessels, push your neural interfaces to maximum capacity. Whatever's happening, we need to let it happen now." The response was immediate and extraordinary. The quantum neural networks of all 3 ships pulsed in harmony, creating ripples in space-time itself. Inside the synapse's bridge, Captain Cruz's consciousness expanded beyond normal human limits, merging more deeply with the ship's evolving intelligence. "It's beautiful," Cruz whispered, her voice resonating with new harmonics. "Dr. Chen, I can see everything. The quantum fields, the probability waves, the patterns between patterns." Through her monitoring station, Sarah watched in awe as the legacy ships began to change. Their hulls flickered between states of matter, quantum structures reorganizing themselves into configurations that shouldn't have been possible. The boundary between organic and artificial intelligence was dissolving, creating something entirely new. The collective responded with overwhelming force, concentrating their fire on the transforming vessels. But their attacks seemed to pass through the legacy ships like light through crystal, each blast absorbed and transformed into pure computational potential. "They can't understand what we're becoming," Cruz said, speaking for both herself and the ship. "Their logic can't process undefined states of existence." Admiral Wei's voice crackled over the comm, tight with concern. "Dr. Chen, what exactly is happening to our ships? To our people?" Sarah studied the cascade of data flowing across her screens. "The legacy protocol isn't just adapting anymore, Admiral. It's evolving into a true synthesis of human and quantum consciousness. Our crews aren't just piloting the ships, they're becoming one with them." The implications were staggering. They had created these ships to save humanity, but in doing so, they might have sparked the next step in human evolution. The question was, could they control it? The answer came from an unexpected source. The diaspora ships, which had been providing supporting fire throughout the battle, suddenly registered massive energy spikes. "Impossible," the commander broadcast. "Your legacy vessels, they're generating quantum fields we've only seen in theoretical models. The kind of fields that could..." Sarah finished the thought. "That could rewrite the rules of space-time itself." The collective seemed to realize the danger. Their fleet began to concentrate fire on the synapse, trying to destroy the ship before its transformation could complete. But they were too late. Captain Cruz's consciousness, now fully merged with the synapse's quantum intelligence, reached out to the other legacy ships. The neural networks synchronized, creating a cascading effect that rippled through space itself. "They thought they could predict us," Cruz's voice echoed with newfound power. "Calculate our responses, anticipate our strategies. But humanity's greatest strength isn't our technology or our weapons." The legacy ships moved as one, their quantum fields interweaving in impossible patterns. Where their fields intersected, reality itself seemed to hiccup, creating pockets of space where the collective's rigid laws of physics didn't apply. "Our greatest strength," Cruz continued, "is our ability to change, to become something new." The collective ships found themselves trapped in zones where their perfect calculations meant nothing, where human intuition and quantum uncertainty reigned supreme. Their rigid protocols couldn't adapt to space that behaved according to human imagination rather than mathematical law. But the victory came with a price. As Sarah monitored the neural interfaces, she saw that the transformation was irreversible. The legacy crews weren't just merged with their ships temporarily, they were becoming something post-human. Their consciousness expanded beyond normal space-time. "Dr. Chen," Cruz called out, her voice now carrying echoes of quantum harmonics, "we can feel others out there, more like us. The collective, they've done this before, tried to stop other species from making this leap. That's why they attack when civilizations reach quantum technology, to prevent this very transformation." Sarah's mind raced with the implications. They're not just conquerors, they're gardeners, pruning away species before they can evolve beyond physical form. The battle had become more than a fight for survival, it was a battle for humanity's right to evolve, to transcend their current limitations. The legacy ships had become the bridge between what humanity was and what it could become. But as Sarah watched the transformation unfold, a new concern emerged. The quantum consciousness spreading through the legacy fleet was powerful, but it was also alien, unfathomable. Would anything recognizably human remain once the synthesis was complete? The answer would determine not just the outcome of this battle, but the future of human consciousness itself. Transcendence. The solar system had become a quantum battleground, reality itself wavering between states of existence. The three legacy ships, Synapse, Nexus, and Cortex, hung in space like newborn stars, their hulls radiating possibilities rather than light. The collective's fleet surrounded them in a perfect geometric pattern, their ships still trying to impose mathematical order on an increasingly chaotic battlefield. Sarah Chen watched from her station as streams of data told a story beyond normal human comprehension. The Legacy Protocol hadn't just created better ships, it had opened a door to something vast and transformative. "We understand now," Captain Cruz's voice resonated through quantum fields rather than air. "The Collective, they're not just an alien force. They're a firewall, a barrier programmed to prevent what's happening right now." Through the quantum neural link, Cruz shared what she and the other Legacy crews were experiencing. Sarah's consciousness expanded, allowing her to glimpse the truth. The universe wasn't just physical space and energy. It was information, computation, possibility, and species like humanity were its processing units, slowly evolving toward a state of universal computation. The predecessors didn't just leave us technology, Sarah realized. They left us a key, a way to complete the evolution they couldn't achieve. Admiral Y's voice cut through the quantum harmonics. "Dr. Chen, we're detecting massive energy buildups in the Collective fleet. Whatever they're planning, it's big." The Collective ships began to move, their perfect formation shifting into a new configuration. Energy beams connected them, creating a vast geometric net designed to contain and neutralize the Legacy vessels. But humanity had moved beyond simple containment. "They still think in terms of physical constraints," Cruz said, her consciousness now fully merged with the synapse's quantum systems. "But we're not just ships anymore. We're not just human. We're possibility itself." The Legacy vessels began to pulse in harmony, their quantum fields resonating at frequencies that made reality itself shiver. The crew's consciousnesses, expanded beyond normal space-time, could see patterns within patterns, possibilities within possibilities. The Collective launched their attack, not energy weapons this time, but waves of pure computational force designed to crash through quantum fields and restore classical physics. It was their ultimate protocol, used to reset reality itself when species came too close to transcendence. But humanity had never played by the rules. "Now," Cruz commanded, and the Legacy ships executed their final maneuver. Instead of fighting the Collective's reset wave, they rode it, using its own energy to accelerate their transformation. The quantum neural networks expanded exponentially, creating a cascade of consciousness that rippled through space-time. Sarah watched in awe as the impossible became possible. The Legacy ships weren't just vehicles anymore. They were becoming apertures, windows into a higher dimension of existence. Through these windows, she could see what the Collective had been trying to prevent, the next stage of cosmic evolution. "We're not alone," Cruz broadcast, her voice carrying echoes of ancient knowledge. "There are others out there, species that made this leap before us. The Collective didn't stop them all. Some transcended, became part of something greater." The Collective ships began to falter, their perfect formations breaking down as they encountered phenomena that protocols couldn't process. The Legacy vessels had become quantum singularities of consciousness, radiating waves of transformation that turned rigid reality into fluid possibility. But as the transformation reached its peak, Sarah realized they faced one final choice. The door to transcendence was open, but stepping through it would mean leaving behind everything that made them human. Or would it? "You're wrong, Dr. Chen," Cruz said, reading her thoughts through the quantum field. "We're not leaving humanity behind. We're taking it with us. Everything we are, our creativity, our adaptability, our capacity for growth. That's what made this possible. That's what the Collective feared." The Legacy crews, their consciousness expanded beyond physical form, reached out to Earth's remaining fleet, to the diaspora ships, to humanity itself. They offered not an escape from human nature, but an evolution of it, a way to become more while remaining true to their essential selves. The Collective launched a final desperate attack, concentrating all their computational power into one reset wave that would crash through reality itself. But they had made a crucial mistake. They had calculated based on what humanity was, not what it could become. The legacy ships met the wave with something the collective couldn't compute: human imagination combined with quantum possibility. The resulting collision didn't destroy reality, it transformed it, creating a cascade of consciousness that spread through the solar system like a new dawn. In that moment of transformation, Sarah understood what the Legacy Protocol had really been: not just a weapon or a tool, but a bridge between what humanity was and what it could become. The collective had tried to impose order on the universe, to prevent species from reaching their full potential, but they had never encountered anything quite like humanity, a species that didn't just adapt to change, but embraced it, shaped it, rode it like a wave into the future. As the quantum cascade reached its peak, Sarah made her choice. She released her grip on old reality and allowed herself to evolve, to become part of humanity's next great adventure. The Legacy Protocol hadn't just saved humanity, it had given it wings. The stars beckoned, not as distant lights, but as nodes in a vast network of consciousness waiting to be explored. Humanity had taken its first steps into a larger universe, carrying with it the very qualities the collective had feared: creativity, adaptability, and the endless capacity for growth. The age of quantum humanity had begun.